Hi, I'm Wolf Wigo, three-time Olympian and co-founder of KAP7 and Turbo USA. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about game warm-ups and what you should be thinking and what the team needs. It changes sometimes. So first of all, before I get into it, sometimes you're warming up for a game and it's before the fourth game of a tournament that you've played 3 games already in 18 hours, and your warm-up is going to be a little different than your warm up, say, for you have 1 game on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening on the whole weekend, and that's the only game. Um, your warm up can also change depending on how many players you have and that you expect are going to actually play in the game. If you've only got 7 or 8 players and you've got a really small bench, you might not want to push the players as hard in the warm up. So just some little things to consider. But going forward, the main idea is you want to have everyone ready, excited, their body physically ready, all parts of their body. You want them mentally fresh and ready to go and enter that game from the first whistle as if it's the middle of the second period or middle of the third period. Always you see teams, they come out and for one reason or another, they're just flat and you're down 3-0 against a team that you're even with or maybe you're better than. So there's no better feeling than to know that you guys are ready. You see in everyone's eyes, they've got that eye of the tiger, they're ready to go, they're pumped up, and they've done the proper warm-up. So it helps maybe an hour or even more before the game starts, the players are mentally thinking about what's going on. They're thinking about, in the last few games, any mistakes they've made and how they can correct them. They're thinking about the personnel of the other team. Number 10 scores 5 goals a game, and we really got to make sure there's a game plan that you have worked out or whatever. Then you get into the physical. You want to start with some dry land exercises, just rolling out the shoulders. There's a whole variety of things you can do, but you want to get your body going. You want to get your legs going, your arms, okay? A lot of times you'll just see a team, they'll be sort of like this, and just sort of going through the motions and sort of stretching when they haven't even warmed up that much. So you want to get your body moving. You want to get all the muscles flowing really before you do any of the stretching, if you're going to do that. You can have the teams play little games with each other where they're doing a little bit of wrestling on the dry land or trying to push each other off balance. And these are things that engage the players, focus themselves that the game has started, say, an hour before the actual game even starts. Okay, and then once you set up the pool training aspect for the game, you're working on a warm up, you're working on sprints, and then you're getting into legs and player specific. You probably want your centers and your defenders to do a little more wrestling or jousting or sinking, or maybe they have a weight belt on for a couple minutes before the game starts. You want to have practice warm-up, you want to have a system where the players, maybe they do some of the fundamental movements that occur quite often in the game, where they're stepping over your hips, trying to cover as much ground as they can, shot blocking, where they can tie in what they've worked on in the practices to what's going to happen in the game situations. But you have to get your heart rate up, you have to get going. Like I said, you want to enter this game as if you're in the middle of the battle and not, we're just going to slowly get into this game. So those are all some really important things to think about. Another important thing is if you have a lot of players, if you have a small bench, it's one thing. But if you have a lot of players, you probably want to get 2 groups. You could even have 3 groups, where one group is warms up and starts passing right away. The other group does their sprints and then passes while the other group shoots. And you're sort of rotating around so that you don't have, what you want to avoid is 16 or 18 players all finish everything at the exact same time and end up out in front of the goal and floating on balls while you get maybe 2 or 3 shots in 10 minutes of shooting. So that's one thing you want to avoid. Another thing you want the players to do is to get to the positions, get to the places where they're going to be getting shots from in the game. So again, you don't want to have all the players up top in front of the goal, between the goal posts, taking all their shots there. Okay, so if a player plays the wing on 6-on-5, or a player is getting a lot of counterattacks in the game, they should be working on a couple of those movements in the warm-up and really feeling confident about themselves that, hey, in the game I'm going to come up on the counterattack, I'm going to lock, I'm going to slide the goalkeeper, give one more hitch, and then put it away, and they'll have done it and practiced it perfectly before the game even starts, as opposed to not doing it right and then, I should have done that, and if this happens again in the third quarter, I'll be able to execute on that. So really getting the team mentally prepared a long time before the game starts, physically prepared on land, and then physically prepared in the water, strong legs, arm warm-up, passing, some fundamental movements, shooting appropriately, and then getting the team pumped up for the game.